the right is the Collar Mansion. That was the mining office and the residence for the owners of the mine in the 1800s. Ahead of that, we have the Fourth Ward School, built in 1875. It has 4 floors and 14 classrooms. It was built to accommodate over 1,000 students. It is one of the first schools in the West to have forced air heat, water fountains on all 4 floors, and flushing toilets. That school was closed in 1936, due in part to this open pit mine over here to our left. It is one of the last schools of its kind in this country and is open daily for tours. Now, in the heyday of Virginia City, between here and the cemetery and up and down the side of the mountain, we had close to 30,000 residents. In back of us in Gold Hill was another 10,000. We had 109 saloons, 50 dry goods stores, including a Tiffany's outlet, 35 hotels and boarding houses, 22 restaurants, 6 churches, 5 schools, and 17 breweries. We also imported about 300 tons of whiskey a year. Now, the gold and silver from the Comstock altered the monetary standards of the world, fostered many new industries, helped build San Francisco in the 1800s, helped rebuild San Francisco after the 1906 earthquake and fire. On October 31st, 1864, Nevada was admitted to the Union as the 36th state, due in no small part to the gold and silver of the Comstock. The senators were necessary in ratifying the 13th Amendment. After the Civil War began building his home. When the second found out about it, he bought the adjacent property. When the first miner was just about finished, the second moved his house from the other end of town. He said, "I'm going to put my house so close to that man's house that he'll not be able to enjoy the cool breezes of summer or the warming sun in the winter." Now take a look out the right side of the tram at the red and white houses on the street below. As we pass by them, look between them and see just how close together they are.
Oh, okay.
I think that miner accomplished his mission. We call them the Spite Houses. Rumor has it they had a girlfriend involved in that little argument.
Oh,
Which house do you suppose she ended up in?
that's why.
The Chapman House here is the last of the old boarding houses. It was built about 1862. Down below we have the front side of the Mackey Mansion that I mentioned earlier, and they're open for tours. Now on the left on the street above are 2 tan buildings. That's the Carriage House and the Castle. The Carriage House was rebuilt several years ago using all the original specifications. They even brought in square nails from Pennsylvania. The castle itself was built in 1868. It was modeled after a castle in France, thus the name. All of the furnishings were purchased in Europe, brought around the Horn to the Bay Area and up to Virginia City by wagon. They have silver doorknobs there and a number of silver fixtures throughout the house.
Ya saben, aquí hay comida, Al carbón está la
First Presbyterian Church on our left was built in 1866. This church and the next 13 buildings down to the intersection were spared that fire of 1875. It was late one night in October of 1875. A miner living in a boarding house a couple of blocks up knocked over an oil lamp and started a fire. Now it was a very windy night, as we've been known to have up here in the Comstock. By morning, that fire had destroyed 80% of the businesses, more than 1,000 homes, and the churches, as I mentioned earlier. But it was the heyday of Virginia City. In a few months, they all rebuilt back in operation. Comstock Firemen's Museum is open for tours. Also on the right is the Gunfighters Corral. They're going to have 2 gunfights today, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. On the left is the old Washoe Club. It was said to have the Millionaires Club on the 2nd floor. At one time, they claimed 184 members. They're open today for ghost tours. Also on the left, the Ponderosa Saloon Mine Tour. The miners in the back of the saloon. They'll take you in one of the old tunnels of Virginia City. That's also the old Bank of California building, and they have the vault in there. Yeah, don't lock anybody in, though. We never did get the combination. The last building over here on the right, we have the Territorial Enterprise. That was Nevada's first newspaper. Samuel Clemens came out here in 1862. He found work there as a reporter. While up on the Comstock, he had the name Mark Twain. Now, he lived here less than 2 years. The story has it that he got into a fight with a man and challenged that man to a duel. Well, dueling was illegal, even on the Comstock in the 1800s, and a number of Mark Twain's friends talked him into leaving town. I was told that was a good idea. They did say Mark Twain was a lousy shot. The Delta across the street in Chin. In the back portion, they have the suicide table. They have a letter on the wall telling you why they call it the suicide table, and a little bit about the game of Pharaoh that was played at that table. Bucket of blood invites you in. They say that was such a rowdy bar in the old days that when they mucked it out in the morning, the mop bucket was red from the previous night's fights. Little lip in that one. On the street above the Delta, that building up there is the Story County Courthouse, built in 1876. Lady Justice up on that 2nd floor balcony is not blindfolded. One of about 30 justices in the United States is not blindfolded. That is the county seat for Story County, of which Virginia City is a part of. It does have business offices open throughout the week. Thank you for riding with me today. I'll come around, get the stools down, help you if you need it.
Thank you.